Hello, everyone, and welcome to Disability Voices United, SDP Connect. My name is Christiana Morales. I am the Director of Self-Determination here. We have such an exciting program for you today, but we do have some announcements to begin with. So I'm going to start with the announcements. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. The first announcement we have is that we are hosting for the Inland Regional Center Local Volunteer Advisory Committee a resource fair, conference, and micro enterprise market. And it is on June 8th. It's in person. Now, this is specifically for Inland Regional Center clients. So if you are an Inland Regional Center client and would like to attend, we will be putting the link in the chat. And we will have Spanish interpretation at this conference. At the conference, you will get a Think Outside the Box book in either English or Spanish, your choice, and a boxed lunch. And our companionship, which is going to be great because we want to see all of you there. We do have about 5 spaces left for exhibitors at the resource fair. If you are interested, we will also put these in the chat if you want to be an exhibitor at the resource fair. And we have that both in English and Spanish for you. My last announcement is part 2 of our 3-part person-centered plan training for the RCOC, Regional Center of Orange County. This is a Spanish training with English interpretation, and it is going to be on May 18th, which is Saturday, from 9 to 10:30. This is open to anybody who wants to come. But reminder, if you went to the first one, we changed the time this one because some of the participants had a conflict. There was a group of participants that couldn't make it to the later one. So double check your time. It's the same link if you went before. So do double check your time. So it's 9 to 10:30 on Saturday. And I think that is the last of our announcements, other than hold on, I'm going to stop sharing. Make sure everybody knows there were 3 new directives that came out. There's a lot of talk about them. The next Connect, we are going to go in depth and talk all about them, probably more than you're going to even want to think about. But in the meantime, I want you to know that DDS is having some meetings. And so they are having a meeting in English on May 16th, and we're going to put these in the chat so you can get the links to them. So the DDS meeting on directives for the participants is May 16th at 4 o'clock, and the link will be in the chat. In Spanish, it's May 18th at 9 a.m. And if you are a financial management service or an independent facilitator, they are having a meeting May 16th at 2 p.m. to talk about those 3 directives. So go to those, come to our next Connect, and we will talk all about them. And last but not least, Judy Mark, our president and fearless leader, attended the SDP work group meeting today, and she's going to tell you all about it.
Hi, everybody. I'm certain, just to add on to what Christiana said, I am certain that at the May 18th Spanish DDS meeting that they will have English interpretation, and I believe that they will have Spanish interpretation at the English one on May 16th. So if you can't go to one of them but want to go to the other, you can do that. It will just, the main language will be different. So you may not know this, but there is something called the Self-Determination Program DDS Advisory Group. DDS stands for the Department of Developmental Services, which is the statewide agency that contracts with the 21 regional centers and implements the Lanterman Act as well as the self-determination law. I sit on this advisory group. This is a private advisory group. It is not open to the public. Those are the kinds of things that make my head explode. And so therefore, every time we have one of these meetings, I report out everything that happens because I don't believe the government should be working in private. So the meeting just ended like an hour ago. So this is hot off the press information. I'm not going to share with you everything that was discussed because it was a 2-hour meeting, but I at least want to give you some updated data. And I'm going to share my screen rather quickly and just show you a few quick things so we can get to your main event. So, oh, sorry, I'm going way too fast. So here is the latest data on SDP enrollment. This is, you'll see that as of March of 2024, we have 4,242 participants statewide. I have to tell you, for those of us who got the law passed, we are, it is still so much lower than where we thought we would be by 2024, which is 10 years after the waiver was supposed to be submitted to the federal government. We thought we'd be at least 25,000. So we are way behind. But we are at least inching upward every quarter, or every 6 months. I'm going to show you by regional center now. So the way that they do it drives me nuts. They do it from the smallest regional center to the largest. So Redwood Coast Regional Center has about 6,000 or so. I could be wrong, but somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 consumers. And Inland Regional Center has over 50,000 consumers, so like 10 times as much. But you'll see that the number should be going steadily up, and that is not what happens. And in fact, you'll see that my regional center, Westside Regional Center, which is a small regional center with about 9,000 consumers, has by far the biggest percentage. I ask them every single time we have this meeting to give us percentages of overall enrollment. The reason they don't do it is because the percentages are so tiny and pathetically small that it's embarrassing. So that's why they don't do it. I do also want to point out a few underperforming regional centers. And strangely, two of them are pilot regional centers, meaning they have had self-determination at the regional center since the late 1990s. So that would be Redwood Coast Regional Center, who originally had 30 pilot participants in. So that means in the 5 years, almost 6 years since the SDP has gone statewide, they have added about 20 participants. Which is really bad. The other one is Tri-Counties Regional Center, which also had about 30 participants in the pilot. They've added about 35. So that is really, really not good. And focus needs to be paid on them. And then of course, we have North Bay Regional Center, which also is very, very underperforming. San Diego Regional Center has actually had a giant boost in the last 6 months. So they are really promoting it quite well at that regional center. I'm also going to, this is a ridiculous one. I'm going to show you by race and ethnicity, which I think is important. This will be the last one I show you. You'll see that Hispanics or Latinos continue to be substantially underrepresented in the SDP. They make up 41% of the regional center population and only 20% of SDP clients. Black African Americans, same thing, where they make up 9% of regional center consumers, but only 5% of the SDP. Obviously, whites are highly overrepresented, and Asians are as well. The surprising note is this other category, which we don't know who those people are, because their race is either non-identified or they're multiracial, and they're actually overrepresented. So I wanted to show you, this is data that we use to inform our advocacy, to break down the barriers to the SDP. And we will continue to keep you updated. We have legislation to break down those barriers. Our legislation is currently in Appropriations Committee, and we are hoping that it pulls out of Appropriations. I'll try to get in the chat in a few minutes ways for you to help get that legislation passed. And feel free to scroll in the chat so that you can see that. Thanks, Christiana.
Nina, there was the $1 million question in the chat. Why is SDP enrollment so low?
Yeah. It is very low. It is low. There's a number of reasons. The number one reason is most consumers of regional centers have never heard of the SDP. So you can't turn it down if you don't even know it exists. It is not mandated that regional centers even tell you about the self-determination program. And at least once a week, I hear of somebody who says, oh, I've never heard of that before. So that's a problem. Number two, people are discouraged from entering it because the processes are so complex. And we really need to reduce those barriers. The legislation we have in reduces what we believe are the most significant barriers in the STP, although it is not addressing everything for sure. So there's a number of reasons why. There's also problems with finding independent facilitators, getting FMSs. There's just so many reasons why the program is so under enrolled. But we're hoping, the other announcement, I don't remember if we made this the last time, Christiana, remind me, is that the head of the self-determination program at DDS is leaving. Susie Reckworth, who has been honestly the savior for my son and many other people in the SDP, is leaving and actually moving to my regional center as the director of client services. So lucky us, but not lucky the self-determination program. I asked for an update on the hiring of the new replacement at the meeting today, and they said that they have already closed the hiring process and they are doing interviews. So I don't know who the person's going to be. We cannot influence that hiring process as a state government, but we are hoping that they're going to be as great as Susie was. So yeah, those are great questions.
But I'll also say, everybody that's in self-determination program wouldn't give it up. We love it. It's amazing. And right now it's kind of known as the best kept secret. And we want to make sure that it no longer stays a secret, that everybody knows about it. Which segues.
Wait, so I just have a huge announcement to everybody. My son moved out yesterday. Huge announcement. And it would never have been able to be possible were it not for him being in the self-determination program. It is all Tim Jin's fault that he has moved out. Tim is his good friend and has been egging him on to this for years now. And it went so swimmingly well. He is so incredibly happy. He has 24/7 supports. We hired incredible people. We'll be talking about it more in a couple of SDP Connects, the way that we hired people and got really highly qualified staff. So I'm hoping to get more sleep in my life now.
You actually made me choke when you said it was Tim's fault.
It's Tim's fault. And I'm so appreciative of Tim.
So that kind of segues perfectly into what we're going to here to talk about today. We get so many questions. I see them on the Facebook page. I get them through the chats here of what kind of services can you get in the self-determination program? And we want to remind everybody the services always start from your person-centered plan. That's what's going to determine and drive what you're going to have. But I wanted to share, I have a few resources that I wanted to share with you. And we're going to continue doing this along the way with at our connects, because these are services who love the self-determination program. These are people that we talked to who said, they're providers that said, oh my gosh, the self-determination program is amazing. And I thought, okay, these are who you need to be talking to. And so I want to introduce to you Brett Winters. He's the Director of Accelerate Enrollment Services at GameU. Give a little wave there.
Hi.
Jason Weissbrod, and did I pronounce your last name correctly? Weissbrod?
Close enough. Weissbrod. Yeah.
There you. It's much better way you say it. Weissbrod, and he is from Spectrum Laboratory. And Nina Zippay from Radical Cooks. And I know Nina is here somewhere. Oh, there she is. Hi, Nina. Thank you all so much for being here. I do want to start by saying Disability Voices United does not endorse anybody, but we are so happy to be able to share ideas for people to get out there when you're thinking about what you might want to do with your spending plan. So I was going to start with Brett to tell us a bit about GameU.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Disability Voices United, for having me here. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone that has joined us tonight. Christiana, as she mentioned, my name is Brett Winters. I'm the Director of Enrollment Services for our Accelerate program at GameU. And I do have a little presentation that I'd like to share. We'll tell you more about GameU and what our company is about and how amazing our students are. Okay. Can everyone see that? Yes? Wonderful. All right. Well, GameU Accelerate. Again, my name is Brett Winters, and our program has over 1,100 amazing students who are capable, who have the abilities, who are learning game design. They're not playing video games, because plenty of people do that in their personal time, or whatever they're deciding to do, and within their video game love and passion. But we are truly teaching viable skills: how to make your own video games, digital art, animation, and much more. We are a very unique program. Our program is developed by game industry professionals. Again, people that have graduated with degrees in game design, animation, digital art, and we teach our students in a live one-to-one online setting, and we are open to all ages and all abilities. Again, my name is Brett Winters. I'm the Director of Enrollment Services for GameU. I truly believe I have the greatest job in the world. I get to brag about my students, over 1,100 students in our program, who are amazing, who are talented, who are capable, if I haven't said it already. So yeah, I do a lot of bragging, and that's okay, because again, I'm just super proud and super passionate about our program and, number one, our students. And I will also say that we really don't advertise much. I am grateful that I'm invited to speak, for and giving presentations and opportunities like I am today. And I go to community events, but it's really all word of mouth. And for 10 years, that's how it's been. And it's a testament, number one, to our students, our program, our instructors, and everyone that's involved, families, individuals that are in our program, independent facilitators, and more. Just a little bit about our team and how we started. Mike Kawas is the founder of our program and our company. He is amazing. He is super impressive. His technical skills, his passion for video games, and maybe some of you may have heard of George Lucas and Star Wars. Well, Mike was an integral part of the Star Wars video game franchise. And he was working out on the West Coast. He worked at all the video game companies, and Star Wars being his last one. LucasArts, where he was developing Star Wars, was his last position. And it was all on the West Coast, and he grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey, and he wanted to come back home and be with his family. And he knew that he wanted to do something involved in the video game industry. So he came back, and he has 2 children. And before he knew it, his children's friends were coming over, and your dad's the coolest guy. He makes video games, digital art, animation. And then their parents were coming over. So he started realizing, okay, I have an idea here. I mean, this is kids, teenagers, young adults, adults that want to learn about creating and designing their own video games. And so he started GameU 10 years ago. And just like Mike, we have over 100 instructors who are super technical. They know design, digital art, coding, creative writing. But the most important thing, and I always say this to everybody, is that they are kind, they are caring, and they're patient people. That is the only way that our student population will be successful. And as I mentioned, they've graduated with degrees in game design. They become mentors to our students, and it's a really wonderful thing to see them interact and engage with each other. What is our Accelerate program? Well, we want to teach everybody. We understand that everybody thinks differently. Everybody has different abilities. Everybody learns differently. And I think that's what makes the world go round. Personally, it'd be pretty boring if everyone was the same, right? So we understand everyone has unique learning needs. And we want to teach them through video games. Again, they're not playing video games. We are using video games as a vehicle to teach. And we want to teach them critical thinking, social integration, fine motor skills. When you're coding and programming, you're learning how to do that. That is critical thinking. That is, if this, then that occurs. And that can happen in real life. If I make this decision, this is the outcome. Positive or negative, let's hope it's positive. But again, so they're learning real life skills, fine motor skills. Well, for instance, using a sketch pad, using a digital drawing tool, a mouse, that helps with fine motor skills. And social integration, I will get into in a little bit. As I mentioned, we teach one-to-one, but there's a huge component of social integration and socializing with other students. Our instructors, as I mentioned, kind, caring, and patient. We also give them training and behavioral supports. They get monthly trainings to work with our student population. If a student is not engaged or not on task, we have 2 behavioral therapists, Elise and Julie, who helped us start it 10 years ago, our program. And they're a wonderful resource for us, and they give trainings and help out our instructors. Flexible scheduling, 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And one of the things I was mentioning with the one-to-one teaching environment, and it's just like this via Zoom, it's one instructor to one student. And we are truly customizing the curriculum for every single individual in our program. What are they interested in? What pertains to their interests? Is it digital art? Is it coding and programming? Is it creative writing? Maybe it's multiple skill sets that we can teach them. And again, adapting to their learning style. Like we said, everyone learns differently. Everyone thinks differently, different abilities. So teaching one-to-one is very beneficial for our students, but we do recognize socialization. And so because we're teaching one-to-one via Zoom, we now have created, we have monthly events, creative story writing events, character design nights, gaming nights, modding nights, video editing nights, song editing nights. And we also, where our students can get on, and it's completely free for any enrolled student, and they can interact with other students, they can engage with students, they can learn together. And we also have what's called our collabs. An instructor will take some of their students with another instructor and their students, bring them into a Zoom room, and they'll show off their projects that they're working on. Because all of our, even though our curriculum is customized for every individual, it is project-based. So they're working on a project. And again, we've had students with us for years. They're working on their projects. They move on to their next project, learning skills. So they get to show off their projects to other students. And I've been in these rooms. It's absolutely amazing to see the students engage with each other, asking questions about their projects. And the confidence that I've seen some of these students exude is just amazing. It's mind-blowing. They want to talk about their projects, and people are interested with like-minded peers.
Brett, I'm going to jump in real quick. And there's
Sure.
a question in the chat that
Oh.
I thought you probably really want to answer.
I would love to answer.
Lulu at 450 asked, what areas do you work in?
As far as geographically?
Location. Yeah.
Yeah. So we understand there are 21 regional centers, and we work with all locations. Great question, Lulu. Because we are online, not only can we get the best of the best instructors from across the country, we can work with anyone, anywhere geographically. And as I mentioned, when I said 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., we work with all different time zones. So yeah, and absolutely, we're able to work with anyone, and it's a great thing for us. You know, we see the pros and cons with online. We understand that, but one of the pros is that to be able to work with anyone and to be a resource for them if they want to learn these skills. So that's such a benefit. And thank you for the question. Wonderful question. And some of the skills, well, what a great way to segue into that, huh? Some of the skills that are learned at GameU. 2D game design, 3D game design, coding and programming, creative writing, animation, 3D modeling, digital art, sound design, video editing, even Microsoft Office. If someone wants to learn Excel, Word, PowerPoint, maybe someone's going for a job opportunity, they want to help with a LinkedIn profile. So everybody has different goals, different outcomes. You know, why are they taking classes with GameU? And I believe that there's a path for everyone, no matter what your goal is. If you just want to have a good time, you want to learn these skills, you want to interact with other students that have, you know, the same interests. And even now 3D modeling, for instance, and even if you're not a big gamer, I just want to say that as well. If you're not a big gamer, but you're a traditional artist, well, have you ever tried digital art? If you're someone that has an engineering mind, likes to build models, likes to build with Legos, well, 3D modeling, a lot of times there is a correlation between someone who has that kind of engineering mind. I don't personally, I get very frustrated with IKEA furniture and things like that, putting it together, but there are plenty of people that they really enjoy building and seeing what things are made of. And 3D modeling, there's a correlation now between that. And even IKEA has people that, speaking of furniture and things, they have people that work there. And if you get your IKEA furniture, you're missing a part, they will 3D model that in the software that we teach called Blender, and then they'll print it and send it to you. So very important also to know that all the software we use is not proprietary to GameU. So we don't own it. You know, we're using software that's used in the real gaming world and other industries. So they are truly viable skills that our students are learning. Again, program goals and activities, increase critical thinking, science, technology, engineering, art, and math concepts. We want our students to learn how to solve challenges and make their own projects become reality. Again, our program is designed where it's project-based. So they come to their session, they're working on their project. And as I mentioned, we've had students with us for years. At some point, that project comes to an end. They move on to the next project. Maybe they take a character or a landscape or something they designed code and they bring it to the next project. So it's an ongoing learning process of our students being engaged and enjoying what they're doing. Critical thinking, I mentioned that before as well. And of course, all of our wonderful social events where our students can get on and truly engage with each other. We are a community class, all ages, all abilities. I truly mean that. 6 years old is typically, in all the years I've been doing this, the youngest. And then I don't know, 100, 200, we don't discriminate. Anyone's invited to try our class. It is $95 an hour. You can take 1 hour a week if you'd like. Many students do that. There's no pressure. If you want to take 1 hour a week, I think that's great. And each week it's the same day, same time, same instructor. So they our students build a great rapport with their instructor, almost like a mentorship. Again, our instructors are experienced. They've been with us for years, and they have experience in the gaming world and other industries. So they're very valuable to our students as a resource also, not just as teachers. And SDP, yes, we do accept SDP funding. We bill the FMS directly, so families don't have to pay and get reimbursed. We take care of that financial responsibility. Anyone that is interested in our program, and I truly mean anyone, even if you think, well, maybe a little interest, we have a free intro class. We help set up your computer, and all you need is a laptop or a desktop. We install free software so that you can take the intro class, and if you enroll, then you'll have that software. And the 1 hour intro class is with an intro class instructor. And what we do is we speak with the family or the individual who's interested in our program beforehand. We find out their interests. And then during the intro class, the free intro class, we introduce aspects of game design to them. And we see what do they gravitate towards. And that's how we create that customized curriculum for every single individual. And of course, their learning style as well. Okay, I've spoken enough and I've bragged about my students and how amazing they are. So this is a true testament. These are student projects, and you'll see different things, whether it's 3D modeling, animation, and all different, just it blows my mind. And then I get jealous because I say, I don't know if I could do that. So please enjoy. All right. Christiana, you love that so much. Did you say one more time? Is that no?
I do enjoy that. So we have so many great questions in the chat,
Yeah.
but I want to make
Okay.
sure we get to everybody else. So what I'm going to do is we'll get to our next, and then I'll ask all the questions at the end.
Wonderful.
I do want people to know that if you go to the GameU website, they don't talk a lot about the adult programs. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that they do have these programs for adults, which is part of why I wanted Brett to come here. That so we're going to go to our next. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you so much. And by the way, to your point, Christiana, in New Jersey, for instance, is where we one of the other states that we operate in. We have over 500 students, and they're over 21 years old. So again, it truly is for all ages, all abilities, and even the games you saw that may seem pretty intricate. Everyone, we start at the beginning with everyone, right? And so there's no pressure. We just want everyone to come, enjoy, be engaged. And if you are interested, anyone at all for a free intro class, accinfo@game-u.com, or you can give us a call. I'll drop our brochure. Or Christiana, would you like me to drop the brochure in the chat as well?
They just dropped it in the chat for you.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So the next person that I'm going to introduce you to, thank you so much. I'm so excited about all of our presenters, and we have so many great questions. So I want to make sure we get to the Q&A. I want to introduce Jason Weissbrod. Did I get it right this time?
Yeah, that was great.
I was like, oh no, I'm going to screw it up again. Jason is with Spectrum Laboratory, and he's going to tell you about his program.
Great. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me today. So I'm here to tell you about Spectrum Laboratory. We are a Los Angeles-based nonprofit organization. We have classes in person in Los Angeles, but we are expanding our online presence. So I know that's a question everybody asks. Can we take your classes if we're not in Los Angeles? We believe it's very important for us to have classes in Los Angeles and have a social skills, a community building thing. We do events and a bunch of concerts and film screenings and all that stuff in the Los Angeles area, but we are expanding online. So I know that. So when I start talking about all this, you can reach out to me and ask about, online mentorships or our classes in LA. So anyway, Spectrum Laboratory is a 501c3 nonprofit. We teach our students in the areas of acting, filmmaking, music production, singing, songwriting. We do voice acting. We do improv comedy. We also have an art and design program, which teaches basic art and design, storyboards, animatics, character illustrations, comic book drawing. So we have classes in many, many different areas. And basically what Spectrum Laboratory is a program to meet any artist at their level. So whether they are 8 or 9 or 10 years old and just want to do a drawing class or want to do an acting class, or try voicing some of their favorite animation characters, they can come in at that level. Or we have our professional program, which is training artists to break into the entertainment industry. So we are building our connections with Hollywood and the entertainment industry. We know a bunch of casting directors, agents, managers, and production companies, and different, producers and studio execs that we're establishing networks with. And we are trying to build that relationship and not only create projects in Spectrum Laboratories house where we can pay our artists to be in our own films that we create and our own music we create, but also get them auditions to go out and try to break into the industry. We've had some success with some of our actors booking roles on Netflix TV shows and being in movies. Our voice actors have gotten auditions for cartoon shows and have done work for some organizations like a speech app called Speech Kingdom. We've been working with them for 3 or 4 years, and we have 14 voice actors who are getting checks, getting paid to lend their voices to this app. So we do many types of things. I'll share screen. I'll show you our website so you can get kind of a little idea of what we do. Here we go. There we go. Basic. All right. So do you guys see the website? Spectrum Laboratory pop up? All right, cool. So as you see here, we do filmmaking, we do music. That's Tom Kenny. He's the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. He rocks out with us a lot. We have a band that performs live music. We also have our acting program where we do anything from web series to short films that go to film festivals and win awards. Voiceover program by Kathy McCauley right there. That's Rob Paulson, who's the voice of Yakko from Animaniacs right there, who's come to our program. There's some of our students. We also do basic animation, art and design, where we build these characters. This was a paid gig that some of our artists got to do for a children's show called The Weeb. But the thing I love about Spec Labs is our community. We do a bunch of shows. That's for our Spec-O-Ween show. We have a Halloween show that we do improv comedy. The band performs. And then Tom Kenny, who I mentioned before, SpongeBob, his band, Tom Kenny and the High Seas played. So to scroll down, our mission statement is we celebrate neurodiversity and inclusion in the arts. We empower and educate student artists in acting, film, music, voiceover, and animation. Students pursue their passions while learning to be successful within the larger entertainment industry. We have a YouTube page that has a ton of short films that you can check out, music videos, all types of behind the scenes stuff that we do. The only other thing I wanted to share with you all really quickly is there's a really nice video, some favorite Spec Lab memories, so you can hear from some of our students on how they feel about Spectrum Laboratory. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound here. I'm not sure if, hopefully it'll play, but here we go.
Spectrum Laboratory celebrates neurodiversity and inclusion in the arts.
We empower student artists in acting, film, music, voiceover, and animation.
Students pursue their passions while learning to be successful within the larger entertainment industry.
My favorite Spec Labs memory has to be the summer of Spec Show. Being on stage, playing 2 roles while everyone was looking at me, and then nailing it felt amazing. It was a theater high, and I'll be chasing it for a long time.
I have so many wonderful memories working with all of the Spec Lab team, but one that stands out for me is my short film, Howling Home Run.
My favorite Spec Labs memories include when I filmed Spectrum Week and Benchwarm Nerds. If only they knew how good I am. Look at these guns. Look at them.
My favorite memories with Spec Lab are creating my song Big Mouth, the video What Makes a Better World, filming and acting in Benchwarm Nerds, and Let Us Be Heard.
At Spec Labs, I created my first pop album, The Fresh Princess of Friendship, and I loved shooting my music video, I Love My Microphone. MICROPHONE. I love my microphone, baby.
My favorite Spectrum Laboratory memory would have to be working on character design and animation for the live-action animated short, Boys Don't Wear Dresses. It was an LGBT neurodiverse interpretation of the classic fairy tale Cinderella. This experience taught me how to work together and collaborate with a team in an animation production for a TV show. Everyone was fun and friendly, and I will cherish these memories always.
Aloni?
Yeah,
come on, that's perfect.
That's great, Faith.
Hey, you might try to sing something. Hi, Aloni. Hi, Aloni.
That's perfect.
One of my favorite Spectrum Laboratory memories was being part of a virtual reality music video called Use Your Imagination.
I'm forever grateful to Spec Labs for kickstarting my voiceover endeavors. Thank you, Spec Labs. I love you guys so much.
Let's be heard. All right, so I always love getting the chance to hearing from the students themselves. So yeah, there was the bit of what we do at Spectrum Laboratory. I know there'll be a lot of questions of you know, what about if my kid or wants this, like basically we're very a person centered program. What you saw there was a lot of the content that's the result, and but we meet everyone at all ages, all abilities. We meet whatever their passion may be, whether it's writing, acting, being a cameraman, singing songs, playing a guitar, whatever it may be, just any kind of path. I just really highly suggest reaching out to us through the website. There's a contact form on the website. Or you can email us at thespectrumlaboratory@gmail.com. So it's THE spectrumlaboratory@gmail.com. And we'll do a free consultation through Zoom, talk to you and whoever the person who wants to take classes is what they're interested in. And we'll kind of work together, whether it'll be an online mentorship or in person one-on-one mentorship or in a class. So yeah, that is Spectrum Laboratory. We launched in 2015. So we're in our 9th year, and next year we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary. And our big goal for our 10th year anniversary is to have the Spec Lab Studios, which is going to be like the Netflix for autism in Los Angeles. And we're going to have all of our classes at like a production studio. Right now, we're in a bunch of different locations all throughout Los Angeles. So also, you know, we're in Burbank, West LA, North Hollywood. We're kind of jump around in a lot of different locations in LA, but that's just to give you an idea of where we are and where we're going. We're definitely building our online presence too. We're starting in the fall, we're launching Spec Labs Online, which is going to be a custom tailored classes to online as well as one-on-one classes online. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason. That was amazing. So I'll tell you, I think you're starting to see a theme of why I was so impressed with all of these people that I'm bringing today. They are so person-centered. They are working to make sure that it is customized to our needs, which is like the definition of self-determination program. And that they are all, so I have a very funny story about our next guest. I was looking for somebody else to invite as a guest, and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, I've heard so many great things. I need to call her. And as I called, she said, this is so strange because she was just driving home from working with an SDP client and thinking, I need to learn more about SDP and be more part of it. And I thought, what a serendipity. Like, but literally as she's thinking this, the phone rang and it was me calling to ask her to come and speak to you. So I want to introduce you to Nina. Nina, say your last name for me.
Zippy.
Zippy, there you go. I was going to say Zippay, so I like Zippy better. And she is with Radical Cooks. And welcome. Nina, do you, you had sent me your slides. Do you want me to share the slides or do you want to?
If you don't mind handling the technology, can't even pronounce it right now, that would be wonderful.
I'm happy to do that. Let me share my screen. Do you want to introduce yourself first and then I'll share my screen?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Nina, and the name of my company is called Radical Cooks. We're online at radicalcooks.com, and we offer cooking classes, cooking camps, virtual classes. We have sort of a very unique place in the cooking class, cooking school world, in that we like to kind of meet people where they are. And we also integrate different curricula with our cooking classes in some capacity. So in the world of self-determination, that means giving individuals the life skills they need, vocational skills that they are maybe working towards, and also personalizing it. So I do the classes, and I also have colleagues who do the classes as well. But I'd like to kind of jump into the slides at this point, just to kind of talk about, I guess, maybe the topic itself and why we connected so serendipitously. So I can't say technology, but I can say serendipitously. No, maybe not. So I started it with cooking together enriches us all. We talk a lot about enrichment classes or vocational classes or things that you can do to follow your passion. But my passion is cooking. And when I started working with this client in November, the first thing I noticed was he had a frame of him cooking when he was a child. So this was a lifelong passion that he wants to do in some capacity moving forward. Even if you had somebody who didn't love cooking, to have that agency, that sense of agency to be able to cook for yourself has such a fulfilling, enriching emotion. I remember when I was in junior high, the first cooking class I took was in home ec. I'm dating myself, I know. But I felt very empowered, and I felt, oh gosh, maybe I can make it in this world. Maybe I can cook for myself. I also proceeded to put 3 tablespoons of salt in the soup instead of 3 teaspoons, but I know that we learn as we grow. So, so driving home that day when Christiana called me, I was thinking about how my classes that I work with this particular client has enriched me as much as it may have enriched him. And that's why I meant to say cooking together enriches us all. If we could go to the next slide, please. So some of the ways that cooking classes enrich and develop is your cognitive ability, your ability to sequence, your ability to follow a recipe, even if you want to cook without a recipe, understanding what goes first. When I work with people, we get into the familiar habit of washing your hands first, understanding the process and the routine within the kitchen. Once you understand those processes and routines, you can take that same thing and segue it into other parts of your life. Physical development, your hand-eye coordination. We've done everything from knife skills to measuring, understanding leveling, the level of precision, or the level of not so much precision and improvisation that goes into the cooking process. So there are physical development skills that you build in the cooking process. And then of course the life skills. Some of the things that I'd like to do more about is like learning in terms of budgeting, shopping, making good choices in terms of nutrition. That's the next one. And then talking about your mental health as well. One of the things that I've noticed having worked with this particular client is I leave happy, he leaves happy. And the reason being is that after we've made something, like I think one day we made empanadas, he had the food to feed his family. So think about that ability that you garner being able to not only feed yourself, but to feed others. And answering that quick question, where are the kitchens located? Where you're at right now, this is one kitchen. This is my home studio kitchen. In 2020, like all of us, we went Zooming around the world. And I did this from my kitchen. So I do have virtual classes. I have a 2-camera setup. So you can see here when I work with students, I can show them hands-on what everything looks like, but yet they still have the facial profile as well. So we segue back and forth in that regard. That's one place. The other place is I'm in Northeast Los Angeles. So depending upon the where you're based, I can sometimes come to you depending upon schedule. I drive as far as Brea, which is in near the Orange County area. That's about an hour away. And then I also have other teachers that are located in other parts of Los Angeles that we could work with you as well. And then we also have kitchens that we rent for our in-person classes if we wanted to have it off-site, maybe not in your home or my home or virtually. We can go to rented kitchens in Burbank and Northeast Los Angeles. And then the last thing I just want to cover is the safety element. because we tailor our classes based upon the client's needs, then we start with that safety and understanding, your knife skills. A safe knife is a sharp knife, believe it or not. Understanding heat, what conducts heat, what doesn't conduct heat, and things like that. And hopefully I answered that question about what parts of LA do you like go to for, I might have to take that question in just a second. Can we go to the next slide, please? Great, thanks. So a couple of things that makes Radical Cook so radical. By the way, radical means at the root or at the basis. So that's my tagline. The reason being is that I was able at the young age of 17, when my dad got sick, we had to change our family diet, and we were able to change our family diet and make our lives healthier and help him extend his life. So I really do believe changing the way you cook or cooking in a certain way helps you and helps others change at the root. So that's why I have that particular tagline, and that's where the word radical comes from. And what also makes us so radical is that we do have a lot of flexibility here. We have either one-to-one or group classes, in person or online. We can do home-based cooking classes or at a designated commercial kitchen. Those commercial kitchens are Northeast Los Angeles and Burbank presently. We can also do a lot of customization. When I started working with this particular client, I brought in a lot of recipes that were of Hispanic origin. Later on, I learned that they were, the family was more Filipino, Asian, Chinese. So because I do a lot of international cooking, I was able to kind of segue. So we started making recipes from his culture. And in that process, again, more enrichment, I started learning different things about Filipino cuisine. And he started learning how to make things for his family that they would eat. So it worked out really well. Shopping excursions. I love going to the farmer's market. It's really fun to take others with on a tour or to a local grocery store to learn about how to shop in a healthy way. And I'm wrapping my hands around here because if any of you have familiarized yourselves with the grocery store, you'll notice that the produce is on the outside and the snacks that are not so good for you are usually on the inside of a grocery store. So we talk about that. Let's see, collaboration too. So bringing us in early in creating your person-centered plan to collaborate on menus, your intentions and goals is highly recommended. If you've already created your person-centered plan, that's okay. We can accommodate, we can make the accommodations and work with you. But if you bring us in early when you're creating that works out really well because I can send you a questionnaire. We can do a virtual interview and talk about what the goals are, and then periodically check in as we go through the classes. So that's some of the other great things. And next slide, if there is another one. I don't do a lot of slides, so.
I think that's it.
Okay, great, excellent. So we can close that out. We can talk first person. So let me just check. Are there, Christiana, can you help me with any questions?
Yes. So there was a question which I thought was a great one from Floor H at 524, asking, does the client or family need to pay for the ingredients besides the class?
Good question. I factor in the ingredients and supplies in my cost and in the fees that I charge. That's why it's really great to kind of bring that in earlier. Of course, if you're asking for prime rib and that level, then we might have to recalibrate our pricing a little bit. But I generally think about basic home cuisine.
So typically at this point, what we'll do is we will open up questions to everybody, and we'll start going through the chat questions. We try to get to all the questions in the chat, and people can raise their hand, and we alternate between the two. Mari has been so patient. Would you like to go, Mari?
Yes, of course. Oh my God, my heart is just like so happy right now because I just want to say, first of all, thank you to DBU for bringing, this, to the families because as you know, my son is in self-determination trying to became social media influencer. He's into gaming and now he wants to go into voice acting. So this is just coming at the right time. And sometimes, or most of the time, I would say for those families who are entering or adding self-determination, is sometimes it's really difficult to find companies who are taking clients who are in self-determination because sometimes they don't want to get paid through the FMS. They want direct pay by the families. And then they want, families to get reimbursed by the FMS or by the regional center, and it became another issue. So just to hear that they are working with families, they are in self-determination, it's just like my heart is just overwhelmed right now. So I just want to say thank you. But I do have a couple of questions. And one of my questions is, like I said, my son is on the way to becoming a voice actor and also a professional influencer. Is his dream. Is any data for maybe the GameU or for the other Mr. Jason Weissbrod, and please forgive me, I'm not saying it right. Is any of your students had any roles in Hollywood, or how far they have, enter into that? Because, sometimes it's their dream, like in my son's case, they want to make it, they want to be there. And sometimes not just to make the money, just to be seen, to be noticed, because it's what they want. At least, my son wanted to be noticed. I exist, I'm important, more than money and anything else. He just want to be recognized and his talent, to be noticed.
Yeah.
So anything, any data or any of your students have really gone to Hollywood or have a little piece there that I can, you can share with us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes and yes. So basically our program, we're not a vocational program. We don't like put ourselves out there as a place where we will get jobs. It's just like the entertainment industry. I mean, in order to get into the entertainment industry, I am still a filmmaker, director, producer, writer, actor. So for 20 odd years before I started Spectrum Laboratory 10 years ago, I was doing it myself. And basically all of our programs are training programs to build your resume, to build your demo reel, to build your connections with casting directors. So basically, if someone does want to be a voice actor and break into the business, then coming to Spectrum Laboratory is a great stepping stone for them to get there. Yes, we do have connections with casting directors. Yes, have our students audition for Disney and Star Wars and Netflix and Pixar and all that. Yes. Have they booked a lot of roles? Not nearly as much as I, of course, would hope, because that's the business. That's the entertainment industry. And we're very open and clear about that. But yes, we've had some success. We've had students on some Amazon shows. We've had students for Cartoon Network. We had students do something for Exceptional Minds, which is another organization out there that went on to screen. That voice acting thing went on for one of their things, went on to screen on network TV, I think, and different things. We've done Sesame Street. So we definitely have had some success, not, of course, as much as I would hope. And I wish the data would be better. But we're not really about how much jobs we get. We're about setting them up for success. So if they get into that audition room, or they get to meet that agent or that casting director, that they're prepared and that they represent themselves the best to their abilities. So that's the best way I can kind of explain what we do. And yeah, our voice acting program, what's so awesome about voice acting too is nowadays all auditions and stuff, like we teach our students how to build an at-home studio if they have, and SDP is able to like put that into the budget of like setting up a voice acting booth in your home. So we can help train and make that happen. So even if you're not in LA and can't come to the classes, our teachers are capable of showing you how to set it up at home and still giving that education and still getting you to get the chance to audition for these casting directors, even if you're not in LA. So yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank
Great,
you.
great question. I have another question for Brett. Can you accommodate a student with a visual impairment?
Absolutely. In fact, we do have students who have visual impairment. And the beauty of technology is that we are able to use technical devices to make that happen. In fact, we had a student that he has a device where he would plug it into his computer and he could almost like read Braille off it. So pretty interesting to see. And so, yeah, we are able to accommodate, absolutely. And we are always looking for, the best technology that is out there. In fact, we'll purchase that as well for students that have those impairments to say, yeah, we want you to be a part of our program. So absolutely, we're always looking to accommodate in that way.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tracy Pfeiffer at 519 asked, what's the contact info for Radical Cooks? So maybe you can put your, Nina, you can put your info in there. And then there was also a question of the cost. And I think that you might have already talked a little bit about it, but maybe.
Yes. First of all, I'll put my email address on there, but you can also find my email address and phone number at my website, which is radicalcooks.com. But after I answer that question with a very vague answer, it depends on the actual class. So our group classes will be a little bit less. Our other classes, a one-to-one will be a little bit more if they're in person, but virtual will be a little bit less, because if it's virtual, I can't really deliver the groceries to you if you're up in Sacramento. So so we make those various accommodations accordingly. So if you just email me, we can kind of talk about the details and give you a pricing plan on that. And you can, and I will answer to everyone with, and I'll put my website. Oops. It's in my flyer, but I'll put it here too. And Radical Radishes LA at gmail.com. There you go.
Makai, would you like to go? Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes. I have a question for Radical Cooking GameU. My son is in transitional time for IT, and also we're still in traditional regional center services. So I really want to get out into self-determination. So I really want to get him going in life skills and career skills. So right now, for GameU, could I enroll my child in the Word, Excel, or just Word course, and then extend when we get into self-determination? And then for Radical Cooking, I really want him to start with the knife skills, safety skills around stove. Same question, can I? We live in Berkeley. Can I start with getting him one course and then expand later? And do you think vendorization by charter schools? Thank you.
I can answer these really quick.
Yeah.
So I have been a vendor with charter schools, homeschools before in the past, so I know the process. I would just need to know your charter school so that we would have to start that. Okay. And then we could start simply if you wanted to do virtual classes or in-person classes. I don't know how to answer the other question about if you're not set up via SDP and how that billing works, I'd have to defer that question to someone who's a little bit more experienced in that. So
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Christian. I could just speak for GameU and what. Yes. So
Yeah.
Makai, as far as our program, it's interesting with the 21 regional centers. We learned very quickly that they all operate independently.
Yeah.
So we have had some of our students get approved under traditional services for social rec. And then others, we are still talking with the regional centers as to will they approve it. It's really up to the support coordinator and the staff at that regional center. We are getting vendored. We are in that process right now. So we could, again, we want to be a resource to everyone in the community, whether you have traditional services or certainly SDP is absolutely not an issue at all. That is the answer to it.
Thank you so much.
I'll give the answer which I
Christian.
give so repeatedly, which is 21 regional centers, 21 different ways of doing things.
Very
So
much so.
it will definitely depend on your regional center in your when you're with the traditional system. So when you get into self-determination program, then you will be fine with all three of these.
Yeah.
So hold on, I have the question. Our next question was, well, I think we just answered, which was, are you vendored with the regional center? That was Daniel's question at 4:56. So I think we just answered his question. So I'll go to the next one, which was with Sandra Eileen. What percentage, this is for GameU, what percentage of adult program participants go on to work somewhere in the gaming industry?
Yeah, great question. So, as I believe Jason had conveyed, we are not a job placement firm. I truly believe the skills that we're teaching, they are viable skills. They could put it on a resume or a portfolio. Again, the software they're using is used out in the real gaming industry and other industries. I am proud to say that we have hired some of our students as GameU instructors. So that's really a great thing to see. And we are providing them with the skills. I don't have an exact percentage. There have been some that have gotten jobs, and again, complete transparency. The gaming industry is a very competitive industry. It is tough, and so it is nice to see that a lot more now can be done virtually, can be done online, and you can be a developer or a programmer and do that. But so yeah, it is competitive, but some have gone on with some success.
Wonderful. Maribel, do you want to go next?
Sí, buenas tardes. Yo quiero preguntar sobre el programa de actuación. Mi hija tiene 12 años, entonces, pero nosotros vivimos en Tracy, para el lado de la bahía. Entonces quería saber si hay manera de tener clases virtuales con ellos o si tienen ellos alguna oficina de este lado.
Jason, were you able to hear the question?
That was for me. No,
that was for you. Oh, okay. So if you didn't hear the question interpreted, make sure you go to the globe at the bottom of your screen and select English. And then when we hear it interpreted, you will hear it. So I'll repeat it for you, which was, she lives in Northern California and wanted to know if you had classes online or if you have an office up at North.
Okay, so one thing we're building right now is our Spec Labs online. So I would definitely recommend reaching out to us. I put the email in the chat. It's thespectrumlaboratory@gmail.com. And we can definitely accommodate online. We'll be able to accommodate online classes starting in August, I believe. And also we're going to be doing a lot of those classes will be available in different languages. So due to AI, sometimes there's a good thing about AI. So yeah, we're building our online platform right now. And yeah, but right now we don't have any locations outside of Los Angeles. Everything outside of LA, we do online.
Wonderful. We have a question from Julio at 5:31. My question was about the cooking classes. How long is the class, and do you travel to the San Gabriel Valley?
Yes, we travel to the San Gabriel Valley, and the classes can be anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. Right now, one of the clients that I'm working with, it's a 2-hour class. I go to the home kitchen where he lives, and we cook. We start from the very beginning all the way to the end, including doing the dishes. And so that's why it's usually a 2-hour class. So, and the good news is the reward at the end is what you eat what you make. So
That's the best part, right? Oscar, would you like to unmute?
Yes, good afternoon. My question is directed to Brett Winters about GameU. I'm just interested to know, is GameU exclusively for individuals with a diagnosis, or can it be with individuals that could be on the spectrum, but do not have an official diagnosis?
Yeah, great question, Oscar, and thank you. We're open to everybody, truly. Any age, any ability, we're a community class. So anyone that is truly interested in our program, interested in the technology that we teach, we're open to you. Answer your question? All right.
Great question, Oscar. Our next question is from Floor H at 459. And they asked, if a student doesn't feel comfortable with the instructor for any reason, will I be able to get a different one? And this was for GameU.
Yes, absolutely. So we have over 100 instructors that work with our students. And, again, what Oscar had asked before, yes, we have individuals, neurotypical, neurodiverse, and if an instructor is not a good fit, over 100 instructors, yes, we can absolutely switch out an instructor to find a better match. But one of the things with our free intro class, that also is a great way for us to get an idea of who an instructor will work well with.
Zenaida, would you like to go?
Sí, buenas tardes. Yo quería preguntar cuánto tarda el curso de programador de juegos.
Thank you, Zenaida. So you asked how long does it take? And of course, everyone, as I mentioned, learns differently, different abilities. So our classes are project-based, so they are starting a project, and it's not completely open-ended. We do have, we do encourage our students to finish their projects. So it can take someone, a couple months, or take someone 1 month, and depending how in-depth their project is. We have had students with us for years, and they are learning new software. They're learning new skill sets. Maybe, when they first started, they were learning animation, for instance, and then they wanted to get into a bit of coding or creative writing. So it's an ongoing learning process in a fun and enjoyable environment. Thank you, Zenaida. Yeah.
So I have a question for what is the starting age for the cooking classes? This was from Lulu at 535.
Depending upon the person, I have worked with students as young as 5 and as old as 65.
There's no age limit on cooking, is there?
I know. And I don't stop at 65, but usually 65 and older, they usually know what they're doing and they don't really want me in the kitchen. So.
They chase you out.
I'm thinking of my mother-in-law.
Maria C at 501 asked, is GameU online instruction only?
Yes, we are an online platform only. Again, we teach one-to-one. We do have the other social events. And I do want to add in that, we have many students that will have either by themselves or will have an assistant or an aide or a ComHab worker, a therapist with them. And we absolutely encourage that. If that's going to benefit that particular student, then we're certainly open to that.
Jason, you actually have the same question from Shirls Ruber at 536, saying, good afternoon. I have a question for Spectrum. If you can share your email and what is the minimum age to receive classes? And if you can work with a nonverbal 5-year-old child who loves playing instruments and dancing.
Yeah, I wrote back to Cheryl's. The best email for anyone is the Spectrum Laboratory at Gmail. You can also contact us. There's a contact form on our website. But yeah, I mean, we don't really have limits to ages. It's just our youngest student that we've ever had, I think, was 8. So we haven't really worked with anyone younger than 8. We've worked with nonverbal students. But so what we would do, I've had meetings with like a 6-year-old one time or a 7-year-old. And what we'll do is we'll set up a meeting and we'll kind of see if there is a class or a right fit. But I could see it working with a one-on-one mentorship at that young of an age. But as far as being in a classroom in some of our classes, I'm probably too young. But we're gonna expand and hopefully do that. But there could be a one-on-one option for sure.
Wonderful. Floor H at 534 asked GameU, what kind of materials and technology are students going to need for your classes?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Flora. So all they need is a laptop with a camera or a desktop with a camera. Sometimes the school issued computers may be, they're a little restrictive. And then we help with the free intro class. Before we give the free intro class, we have what's called a setup. And we help make sure the computer is running well. We install free software. So all you need is a working computer, a healthy internet connection, and then we are happy to give the free intro class and enroll you if you're interested in the program.
And I think you brought up, both of you brought up a really interesting point, which is you're not employment programs, right? And so what I do want people to think about is in your spending plan, you would probably want to use a combination of services here that you will be using their services to learn the skills, but there's still other programs out there that are employment programs that are specifically working towards, that type, getting jobs in those fields. And so you would kind of want to do that in partnership. So it's something to think about, and you'll be talking about that in your person-centered plan of how you will. And to me, that's the power of self-determination. Is it's so customizable. You're going to find the right pieces. I think this has kind of been answered, but I want to just make sure that everybody heard. Brianne Awesome at 530 asked if all 3 of these programs are available in the traditional system.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think Radical Cooks is in the traditional system, but I am open to becoming part of the traditional system. I would just need to confer with someone about how to set that up.
Yeah, and we had briefly spoken about this before, and Christiana mentioned it, where all of the regional centers, all 21, operate independently. So it's really up to them if they're going to allow a student and allocate money out of their budget through traditional services. SDP, not a problem at all through all 21 regional centers, not an issue at all. And we've had some regional centers that have accepted students of ours and said, yeah, not a problem. And then, but some of them have questioned it, and we've gone under social rec for those traditional services. I know someone had made a comment in the chat before. So again, it's just trying to advocate and to say, yeah, this program should be a resource for those individuals in the community that want to take it. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, we fall under quite a couple different categories. So we've been for traditional and for social skills and for rec and vocational. So we just kind of fall under a bunch of different codes. But we are not vendored like traditionally through the regional center. We're not a vendored program. We just work with SDP through the regional center, if anybody wanted to know.
So if you You can, most of the regional center, or I will say most of the regional centers will offer social recreation under participant directed services, or which is called O24, which means it could be reimbursable by the parent, which means they can pay for it and then the parent would be reimbursed. I don't want to go too much into the traditional system because we're here to talk about self-determination program, but that's a possibility. And those services under O24 are not vendored services. So it could be a way under social rec or under O24. And so Nancy Crocker at 533 asked, GameU, is there a way to look at your classes for adults since they're not on the website?
Yes, and you know, we are redoing our website, but I can drop it in. And please keep in mind, all the programs, again, they're open to all ages, right? So whether you're interested in coding and programming or animation or all the other skill sets that we teach, if you're a traditional artist and you want to learn digital art, again, we are open to all ages. And I can put our into the chat just so you can see, but we do have students, over 1,100 students, and again, kids, teenagers, adults, all ages, truly. And I'm happy to drop that in the chat. Thank you for the question.
There was a shout out from Beth Martinko, hi Beth, at 5:30 p.m. saying they have a sound booth in their SDP plan for this year. So woohoo! We love that. I
Yeah.
saw a woo from Jason.
Yeah, we work with her son. Yeah, he's amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I did want to add too, we also work with the paid internship program. So the PIP program. So if any of you are wondering about internship positions at Spec Labs, we do that as well. So we have some clients who go through the PIP program. So if they want to learn, from one of our mentors and learn, for jobs, for vocational training, we work with the paid internship program as well through the regional centers. So just so you guys know.
Wonderful. So if you're not familiar with what the paid internship program is, in self-determination program, paid internship program is held outside of the budget. So it wouldn't be paid for through your spending plan because the participant is actually going to be getting an income, a salary, while the paid part of the internship program. And so the little bit of confusing piece is when you're in a paid internship program, they're typically paid through a financial management service. It may or may not be your current financial management service. So when my son was doing it, we had, our financial management service for self-determination, and then we had a different one for his paid internship program. So it can be a little bit confusing, but it is a definite option out there for everybody. Tracy Pfeiffer at 527 said, my son has food allergies. Can you cater to individuals like him? And that was for Nina. I'm assuming.
I do it all the time.
And I mean, that's so common, right? Or special diets. People have, there's so many people in our community that have special diets. So that's wonderful. I'm scanning here. I think, my goodness, did we answer all of the questions? You guys are very quiet today.
There was one question in Spanish, which I'm still trying to translate, but if anybody could help with that one, from Cecilia Ortiz.
If you give the time, our interpreters can interpret it for us.
Oh, okay. 5:46 p.m. or 5:45.
Nina, did you hear that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, okay. She interpreted it. So she asked if what the hourly fee is for the cooking classes.
Oh, and as I mentioned earlier, it really depends on if we're doing individual or group, and in-person, virtual, that kind of thing. So I can, if they email me, if you can email me, we can talk about that too.
Wonderful. Margarita P at 514 gave a shout out to Jason at Spectrum Labs and said, we we have supported my child's artistic endeavors. So you got a woohoo.
Yeah.
Rushi, am I pronouncing your name correctly? You can unmute.
Hi, yes, Ruchi.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
yeah, so my question is for digital art because a lot of kids are artistic, our kids are artistic in they. So I was like I wanted to ask both of you, GameU and Spectrum Labs, you both offer digital art?
Yeah, I think we both do, right, Brett? Yeah, I mean, the digital art for me is more based in like character illustration or comic book storytelling. So it kind of depends on what your child wants to go towards. If
Right.
they're more interested in gaming and designing characters in that world, you know, I guess you could reach out to both of us, but or take both, go with both programs because it's like you can learn
That
a
would be
lot from
awesome.
different types of teachers. So, you know, but digital art is a huge world. There's so many things you can do in digital art. So I just, you know, say try to reach out and, you know, find we the only thing I would say is we do have an in-person digital art class and then we do it online as well. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's something to think about.
Would you be able to tell me the location?
Our digital art class, it's our art and design class, and it's in Valley Village area in the Valley in Los Angeles. So it's close to Laurel Canyon and Magnolia Boulevard, if you're familiar with that area.
Yeah,
That's right
I
where
live
we
in the
are.
same area, so like around it. So I
Oh
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're close
Thank you so
by.
much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
And I was just going to say, Rishi, to Jason's point, yeah, we teach all kinds of digital art, 2D, 3D, character design, landscape. So it's really a pretty broad spectrum, and utilizing real software that's used in the gaming industry and other industries, whether it's Krita, Photoshop. You know, there's plenty of programs that we use that, again, they're learning viable skills, and like we was, you know, just conveying before, to put on a resume or show a portfolio and to say, this is the software I've used, this is what I've created. So yeah, and again, ours is one-to-one, one instructor to one student. We're really customizing it. And we do have a lot of traditional artists that are now taking us up on it. And again, to Jason's point, to say it's such a huge industry. And they're saying, I'm a traditional artist. I'd love to learn digital art. And it's amazing to see them take those talents and those skills and apply it, you know, in a different capacity.
Cindy at 5:25 said she was talking about Nina's class. Seeing online cart checkout on your website, how do we get your programs to be funded through SDP?
So my website is designed for more general classes and to give everyone an idea of the types of classes that we teach and when and where. But if you wanted to contact me, what I did with our other clients is I worked directly with the agency or group and then became a vendor with that individual center. So you can email me that center and then I would go through that process. Okay.
Wonderful. I think we actually answered every single question in the chat, which never ever happens, and all our raised hands. So you guys are amazing. I so thrilled that all three of you have such a deep understanding of the value of self-determination and that how all three of you will customize and work with the people and meet them where they're at. And I appreciate all three of you so much. Thank you all for coming and thank you for taking the time to answer all of our massive questions. We always have tons of questions here. Everybody, we will be back in 2 weeks to talk about the directives, the 3 directives that came out. So we will see you then. Thank you all so much for coming and joining us for Self-Determination Program, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.